Chelsea fans, after that 2-1 win against Copenhagen in the round of 16 in the Europa Conference League, the Premier League is back. Chelsea host Leicester Sunday the 9th of March in a 2 p.m. kickoff at Stamford Bridge, and this is a must-win game. Enzo Maresca has come out in his press conference and gave us some incredibly good news and also some fighting words. So in this video, I'm asking one question: can Enzo Maresca back up his fighting talk for Chelsea versus Leicester? Not only that, I will be going over the latest Chelsea news and predicting the Chelsea starting 11. Did you know that 90% of the people watching this video right now are currently not subscribed to the channel? So make sure you leave a like and subscribe if you're a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content. Make sure you join the community and let's get into the video. So let's kick things off with the latest Chelsea news, and the first thing that's been reported was from BBC Sport when they interviewed Colwell after the Copenhagen game, and he said, "I think Maresca, the way he thinks about football is light years above everyone else. I am very blessed to play under him and learn as much as possible." Now, I love that Enzo Maresca has this unity that he's created with the squad, and I love that the players really buy into his systems and his philosophies, and they genuinely believe that over the years they're going to become genuine world beaters. It's hard for us fans to kind of see that from the outside. We're not in the day-to-day running of things, and we go off performances and results. And yes, it's been very turbulent this year, but I'm super happy that the players are invested. Now, let's be honest, in my opinion, Levi Colwell has been on fraud watch for the last few months, because without Wesley Fofana next to him, he looks very, very average, full of mistakes, and young and inexperienced. So, look, I'm happy that that the players are back in Maresca and they see a long-term vision and they buy into his philosophy, but at the end of the day, Chelsea fans only care about results. Next up, we have a report from Kieran Gill, and he says that Enzo Maresca says he will use Moises Caicedo versus Leicester, despite him being a yellow card away from missing Premier League clashes versus Arsenal and Tottenham. He says, "We need to win games. We cannot plan giving Moy a rest, thinking he can play Arsenal. We need to win against Leicester." Now, I really like this mentality. However, it is a double-edged sword, because Caicedo is one yellow card away from a 2-match ban at this stage in the season. He's also an incredibly important player for this squad, and we need him. If he's not in our midfield, we're a completely different Chelsea. So it's kind of rock and a hard place situation. Can Moises Caicedo play against Leicester without getting booked? Now, in recent games, he's been picking up some silly bookings, which has been boosting his tally up to get him close to a suspension. On the other hand, can we afford to not have him play against Arsenal and Tottenham? I personally don't think so. So I don't know what the best situation is. Do you drop him against Leicester and then, use him for Arsenal and Tottenham? Obviously, on paper, it makes sense because you're playing Leicester. You can put someone else in that position. On the other hand, he's so integral to our system and the way that we play, you kind of have to play him. He's one of the best, if not the best DMs in the league. He's just got to pray that he doesn't get a yellow card. But I do like this talk from Maresca. He's like, look, I don't care who we're playing. From now to the end of the season, we need victories. That's why we're playing our best squad in every single game. And I respect that because, look, we've been wanting this from the start of the season. We had a very good start to the season. Obviously, we've gone through this really turbulent spell, and we're slowly starting to turn things around with the Southampton game, the Copenhagen game, hopefully this Leicester game, the other Copenhagen game, and it puts us in a really good position to play Arsenal in terms of form, confidence, and having players that are fit, ready, and available. So I see why he wants to play Caicedo. Who wouldn't if he's available? You play him, right? You just got to pray that he doesn't get another yellow card. The next report comes from Chelsea themselves, and they say Romeo Lavia has stepped up his recovery from injury, but the Leicester game will come too soon for him. Now, this is really good news. We miss Romeo Lavia. He is like the glue in that midfield. That he does all the dirty work. He's so cool, calm, and collected on the ball. His only problem is he cannot stay fit, and this seems to be an ongoing issue. I'm hoping that, it's a bit of a Reece James moment. Reece James has gone through a myriad of injuries over the last few years. However, right now, he's done 12 games on the bounce without picking one up. Hopefully, touch wood, that lasts till the end of the season. So it looks like he's out of the woods for that. Hoping that Romeo Lavia goes through something similar where he's not made of styrofoam and a stiff breeze doesn't knock him over and injure him for 6 weeks. So really good news that Lavia is getting back to fitness. Looks like we will have him for, say, the Arsenal or the Tottenham game, maybe even the second leg against Copenhagen if things go well. But I would say he'd be ready for the Arsenal game, which would be amazing to have him back for. The next report is also from Chelsea Football Club, and they say that Enzo Maresca has confirmed Wesley Fofana is available to face Leicester City. I am so happy about this. We have missed Wesley Fofana so much. When he's not in that back line, we fold like deck chairs. There's been so many defensive errors. Now, yes, recalling Chalobah, that has helped in certain games. He looked a lot more experienced, a lot more confident in that back line. Yes, we know he's not perfect, but we know how much Enzo Maresca's system relies on a pacey centre-back like Wesley Fofana, and without him, we're completely different. We don't look like what we're doing. That partnership that Colwell and Fofana were creating in the early parts of the season up until Fofana's injury was getting better week after week after week. And yeah, we were really starting to see Fofana come out of his shell, start taking players on from centre-back, driving the ball forward, getting involved further up the field, getting involved with the transition plays, and just solid defensively. Yes, Fofana and Colwell, especially at the real start of the season, were very... they always seemed to be out of position, or jumping into challenges too early, or making silly fouls, but that really did start to stop as the weeks were going on. So I'm super excited to see Fofana back. Hopefully he plays against Leicester. It'd be really good to see. I know it's his former club, but it'd be really good to see him playing football for Chelsea again. The next report comes from S. Johnson Sport, and it's on Reece James's fitness. He says Maresca is still being cautious, and he left him on the bench against Southampton last week. Sources say James felt in very good condition to play against Southampton. It is seen as James growing in confidence with his body again. This is again very, very good news. Reece James has gone on a spell of 12 games without being injured, which sounds like not a lot of games, a handful of games. But in Reece James's recent seasons, this is one of his longest, if not the longest stint between injuries, which is fantastic to see. Now, Enzo Maresca said after the Copenhagen first leg that he's always seen Reece James as a midfielder. And we saw how good he played against Copenhagen, the goal he scored, and we know what skill set he got. He can play as a right back, a centre back. He can play in that defensive midfield role. He can bomb forward on that overlapping right back. He is so good. He's a utility player, he's a Swiss Army knife player that Enzo Maresca loves. And when he's fit and getting this run of games and building his confidence, and he's feeling better in himself and more confident in himself, we know how much of a world beater he is. And I can honestly see him playing a lot more in midfield when he is needed, as well as right back or centre back. Wherever Maresca wants him, he's going to play. He is our captain. He'll give everything for the shirt. This is just really good news. I can see him playing in defensive midfield against Leicester. We'll get onto the predicted 11 in just a second, but I can personally see him playing in that midfield role again. I know, obviously, Maresca said he can only play one game a week, but considering recent performances and how sort of good, confident, and how good he feels within himself, there's nothing stopping him playing another game against Leicester shortly after the Copenhagen game. And lastly, it is a report from Bobby Vincent, which is Enzo Maresca speaking on Gusto's injury. And he said he's okay and he's better. They told me he can be ready for Sunday's game, so hopefully we can have him for Sunday. This is a huge boost because that means we can actually play a right back in right back, a left back in left back. We can still play Reece James in midfield. We can have Enzo Fernandez higher in the pitch. Oh, mate, we could be cooking. And I know we're only playing Leicester and people go, oh, we should be winning, blah, blah, blah. We still have to go out and get the results. I will always say that before any game, but it just fills me with a lot more confidence that Fofana's back, Gusto's not injured for a long time, Caicedo's going to be playing, which is an integral part of our squad. Reece James is still fit and playing well, and he feels a lot more confident in the midfield roles. Yes, we don't have a striker. Yes, we don't have Noni Madueke in that right-hand side, but, we've got Palmer, we've got Sancho, Neto's playing well as a false nine, Nkunku seems to be revitalised in that left wing position. I just feel confident for the next few games, the way that we're going. It's like we've gone through this slump, we're coming out of it now, and we're going strength to strength. So, super happy that Gusto isn't injured, is available for Sunday, or hopefully available for Sunday, and hopefully he can play right back, because I personally cannot stand it when he plays left back. Just don't think it's his natural position. Now that's it for the Chelsea news. Let's get into predicting the Chelsea starting 11 to face Leicester this Sunday at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. I'm excited for this game. It should be a good game to watch. Bags of goals. Hopefully keep a clean sheet. But let's start off in goal. Philip Jorgensen, Chelsea's number one. Hopefully he can keep a clean sheet. It would be so good to see. Good for... there it is. It'd be good for our confidence. Good for his confidence. We know his distribution is great. I love the fact he's Chelsea's number one. I mean, Sanchez had a good game against Copenhagen. Didn't really have much to do, but I just feel a lot more confident with Jorgensen in the sticks. Moving on to left back, we have no cover. Also, he is the best left back in the league. It is Cucurella. In my opinion, he's the best left back in the league. Cucurella playing left back. He knows the system inside and out. He can overlap on the left-hand side, invert into the middle. He can play as a 10, basically, in Enzo Maresca's system, which is great. I think he's got something stupid like 10 GA this season, which is wild for a left-back, or close to. Don't hold me to it. It's getting close to that number. But yeah, Cucurella plays. I know that he's playing basically every minute of every game, and that's because the owners got rid of Vega, which makes no sense whatsoever. So we have to play Cucurella unless you want to play Gusto left-back, and I really don't want to be seeing that. So Cucurella left-back. The two centre-backs. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Me, personally, I wouldn't have Levi Colwill playing. He's been on fraud watch. However, we have Wesley Fofana fit, ready and available. Enzo Maresca has confirmed it. I'm excited to see him play. So I feel like, naturally, Enzo Maresca is going to go for a Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana partnership. Now, I could be wrong with this. It could be a case that Fofana gets minutes rather than starts. But I thought, with Fofana still being ready and available for the Southampton game, he might have got minutes rather than started, and he didn't. So maybe Maresca was holding him off to make sure he could start from the off, basically, and get a full 90 under his belt. I would like to see someone like Tosin or Chalobah with Fofana. I think that would be incredible. I think Tosin's been our best centre-back in recent weeks. He's just been so solid. The other thing is he's not as pacey. He's not a Fofana recovery defender where he's got the pace and he's got the legs to get back and recover any mistakes, because Colwill hasn't really got the pace, Chalobah hasn't really got the pace, and Tosin definitely doesn't. So, Colwill-Fofana partnership was doing extremely well week by week, like getting better and better before Fofana's injury. So hopefully it can continue, like pick up where it left off, because Fofana was really coming to his own and it really shored up Colwill. They really started to get to know each other in terms of, their strengths and weaknesses and how they can bounce off each other. So I think Enzo Maresca is going to play that. He loves, that's like his favoured partnership in centre-back. So let's hope that he plays that too. Going on to right-back, there's a couple of options. We could play Ashimpong. I still think he should be getting as many minutes as possible. I think he's a fantastic player. Yes, he's young, but he's shown how cool, calm and collected he can be, and how unfazed he is by the pressure, especially in European nights, and even when he's played at Stamford Bridge. Could go Reece James. We could go Reece James, but there are problems further up the field, which makes me feel like Reece James will play in a different position. We could play Gusto. He's a natural right back. We could play Trevor Chalobah there. Because it's going to go into a back three. So it'd be Colwill, Fofana and Chalobah, which would be really solid. However, is Maresca going to do that or play someone like Gusto and invert from the right-hand side? I don't really know. I'm going to go with Gusto because he's like a natural right back. But at the same time, Maresca keeps us on our toes, right? He always changes things. He could play Gusto left back to give Cucurella a rest for the Arsenal game, play Trevor Chalobah on the right. I don't know. Looking at it right now, if he was going to play Gusto on the right, he might invert that side. But again, we know that Cucurella plays so much better when he inverts. I don't know. Enzo Maresca will keep us on our toes for sure. The two centre midfielders. Now, for me, it's obviously going to be Moises Caicedo because it's been confirmed by Enzo Maresca that he will play, even though that he is one card away from a 2-game suspension, which does worry me because Caicedo in recent weeks has been picking up needless yellow. So let's hope that he can, keep very disciplined, just do his job and not get booked, because we cannot afford to lose him is the right word. Cannot afford to lose him for Arsenal and Spurs. Partnering up with him, I think it's going to be Reece James. I think Enzo Maresca is going to surprise us. I think he is going to play Reece James there. It will be the first time he's played like back-to-back games in a short space of time in years. So I'm hoping that he can, because he's feeling confident. He's feeling good in himself. He had a great game against Copenhagen. So if he is still feeling good, play him. Play him with Caicedo. I think that'd be an incredible little partnership there. We saw how when Enzo Fernandez came on and Reece James, them two in that midfield, they worked so well together, because James was a bit further forward and so was Enzo, but he was also allowed to drop back and pick the ball up. So I think those two would be incredible in the holding midfield roles, especially against a club like Leicester, who, let's be honest, aren't that great this season. Probably one of the worst teams to come up from the Championship in a long time. Not as bad as Southampton, unfortunately. But yeah, I think this is a game where he could, even if he starts and comes off on the second half, I don't know, when the job is done, hopefully. That's who I would play in the centre of the park there, and them holding 6 roles. It also allows James to get forward a little bit as well, which we like seeing him do, and getting forward and being involved in the attacks. On the left-hand side, I'm going with Christopher Nkunku because I feel like he was meant to be rested against Copenhagen. Yes, he played the second half. On that left side, he has played a lot better. And again, I've said this before, I hold my hands up. I've not really been a fan of Nkunku on the left, but he's kind of feels a bit more rejuvenated, a bit more alive, a bit more involved in the game, playing in off the left, pressing a lot more on that side. You know, I think our first goal came from Nkunku and Cucurella pressing super high up on the left-hand side to wing the ball back, which then come back to Reece James. I think Nkunku on the left, I think Sancho at the moment should be on the bench, if I'm being honest. Purely because I like Sancho, but he's just not doing anything when he comes on. He's doing his job, but he's not doing anything above and beyond that. He's not tearing up trees. And Nkunku getting some goals, getting some assists, really starting to come into some form on that left-hand side, so we need to keep that there. In the number 10 role, normally we play Cole Palmer, right? But we've got this weird situation with no strikers, with no Noni, we're moving players around. I actually think we should play Enzo Fernandez in the 10. Put Enzi, can't spell. Enzo Fernandez in the 10, because I tell you what, the higher up the pitch he is in Enzo Maresca's style system, he is unbelievable. Again, he came on against Copenhagen in that 10 role, then dropped a bit deeper, set up the goal, was involved in the first goal, got his second goal. He got the second goal. Unreal. He changed the game in that second half. Played 45 minutes, and personally, he was my man of the match. He is an absolute gem that's really coming to his own in a Chelsea shirt, which I think we've all been praying to see the quality that we know that he's got. He's not been showing on a consistent basis. So I think playing him in the 10 role would be unbelievable. And that midfield three of the defensive and attacking balance of James, Caicedo and Enzo is unreal there. That's mental. And that leaves Cole Palmer to play on the right-hand side. I feel like, he made his name last season mainly from the right-hand side, drifting in. A lot of people are saying, he should play central because that's where Maresca wants to play him. And I get that. Maresca really wants to utilise him as a 10, but we've still got no Noni Madueke, or at least there's no news to say he's fit. We could play Jadon Sancho, but he's not going to start over Palmer, let's be honest. Palmer is our best player by a country mile. Well, closely followed, actually, by Caicedo, so maybe not a country mile. But you know what I'm saying. No one is getting in over him. He's going to play on the right-hand side, or I believe he'll play on the right-hand side to accommodate someone like Enzo in the middle. It means Reece James can actually push forward, Caicedo can spoon into the middle, and then essentially you've got two 10s of Enzo, James, and then Palmer. But Palmer and James can interchange on that right-hand side because James feels comfortable there. So there's a lot of flexibility within that, I think, personally. And that leaves a number 9, and for me, there's only one option right now. It's Pedro Neto. It's got to be Pedro Neto because that guy is on fire in the false 9 for us. What is it, 4 games, 3 GA, a goal and a couple of assists. He's been awesome in that false 9 role. So I feel like he was rested against Copenhagen to play at the weekend. So that means he will play against Leicester and hopefully he can get on the score sheet. He's so direct. He can use both feet just as good as the other. He can strike a ball well, he can cross the ball well. And again, like I mentioned in the previous video, where he can kind of drift out on the right and allow Palmer to come more central. Nkunku can come in, and there's just a lot of fluidity between those front four, in my opinion. Having Enzo playing a lot higher, I think just unlocks a bit more to his game. So that is who I would go with. I think that's an extremely solid 11, and some may say it's overkill against a Leicester team. But I feel like Enzo Maresca has come out with some fight and talk, and he wants to win every single game with the strongest team available. And personally, I feel like that is the strongest team we currently have. So that's my predicted Chelsea 11 to face Leicester City this Sunday at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. Do you agree or disagree? Let me know your thoughts and opinions on this lineup down in the comment section below. I love having a conversation with you guys. This is a must-win game, and hopefully Enzo Maresca can back up his fight and talk, because you can't be all talk when it comes to the Premier League. And if you did watch this far to the end of the video, there'll be a thumbnail that pops up on the screen. So if you are a Chelsea fan who enjoys Chelsea content, make sure you click that thumbnail because you'll enjoy that video too.